Could some of the most horrific traffic accidents out there on the roads be prevented? Are current safety regulations enough to stop people from dying when their cars hit tractor trailers? Investigative reporter Eric Flack and the WUSA 9 Special Assignment Unit hit the road to uncover those answers in their series, Big Rigs, Big Risks.
On highways across our area.
I don't try to drive next to them for any length of time. I try to pass them or just stay back.
It's a question of lead, follow, or get out of the way.
You think about the consequence of if you're in any sort of collision that you're just completely destroyed.
There are few accidents more destructive than a rear-end collision with a tractor trailer. That's how 17-year-old Analia Karth and her 13-year-old sister Mary died.
And it was like, I wish it would have been me instead of them, that they had their whole lives ahead of them. And
it happened on a Georgia highway in 2013. Accident reports show a car driven by their mom, Mary Ann, was rear-ended and ended up lodged underneath a tractor trailer. The part of the car where Analia and Mary were sitting was crushed by the impact of the trailer in what's known as an underride accident. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has worked to prevent underride accidents by requiring rear guards on all tractor trailers. Those rear guards are designed to stop cars from sliding underneath the trailer and save the lives of accident victims like Analia and Mary. But the nonprofit Insurance Institute for Highway Safety in Virginia says the way the laws are written right now, rear guards don't always do what they're supposed to. So the WUSA 9 Special Assignment Unit decided to take a closer look at the rear guards on our roads right now. What we found is evidence of a safety system the IIHS says is in desperate need of repair.
So this rear guard was very dented and bent. And rusted. And old.
When we pulled over at this rest stop, we saw rear guards so rusted out you could see right through them. That was a surprise to us, but it came as no shock to researchers at IIHS, which has studied the issue for years.
But if you've got rust that goes through the thickness of these, beams, that definitely would be a cause for concern.
Their crash tests show many of the guards on the road today, including ones that meet the current federal standard, don't stop fatal underride crashes, even at well below highway speeds. The solution sounds simple: make stronger rear guard regulations. And in 2015, NHTSA took the first step in doing just that, issuing this proposal to upgrade the safety standards. NHTSA admitted people were continuing to die in rear-end collisions with tractor trailers despite advanced safety features on their cars. But in the year and a half since then, those proposed safety changes have sat idle, with NHTSA not taking any further action to pass them, frustrating IIHS and parents like Mary Ann Karth.
I was angry, that nothing seemed to be being done about it to save people from something that could be prevented.
So what does the trucking industry have to say about all this? Well, the American Trucking Association says it supports the plan currently under consideration by NHTSA to strengthen rear guard requirements in this country to a standard currently being used north of the border in Canada. And the Truck Trailer Manufacturers Association says 93% of new trailers being produced right now actually meet that stronger Canadian standard for rear guards.
Not good enough, according to IIHS. They say even the revised rules have huge holes.
And there's a huge gap here that a car could go underneath.
Some non-trailer trucks would still be on the roads without rear guards, and trucking companies would be allowed to get rear guards approved without actual crash tests. All they have to do is put stationary pressure at various points on the rear guard. Hardly a true-to-life scenario, according to the Insurance Institute.
But in a real crash, dynamic forces can be much greater than that, and you might not hit at the same points on the guard that you're testing in the regulation.
And listen to this. He says rear guards under that Canadian standard, the one NHTSA is trying to upgrade to, still has problems, especially in crashes where the vehicle hits the rear guard at an angle rather than head on. We asked NHTSA to talk with us about all this. Instead, they gave us a statement. It says in part, NHTSA is evaluating federal safety standards to find ways to make these types of crashes more survivable, and that the agency is focused on advances in vehicle crash avoidance technologies. But the IIHS says the government must do more to require rear guard technology that could save lives, and for some, a lifetime of pain.
And you see their peers that, like graduate or, do things that they'll never do, and it just never ends.
While we continue to wait for NHTSA to agree to an interview, we continue to study documents for the proposed rule change. In them, NHTSA explained why it granted some safety upgrades and why it denied others. In those cases, NHTSA said trucking companies would need to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to save only a handful of lives. Eric Flack, WUSA 9.
So last Friday, Eric reported that the Department of Transportation has set a $9.6 million limit on how much a new safety regulation can cost per life saved by the new rule. Anything more than that is determined not to be cost effective. But here's the confusing part. The federal government admits they don't actually know how many people die in these kinds of accidents every year because no one's tracking it. You can check out a breakdown on how the cost of a life is calculated by the DOT. You can do that on our website or our WUSA 9 app.